I'm Olimpiu. I've been working with Plone for about 4 years, and with Angular for about a year, on and off. I've been taking a personal interest in AngularJS when first starting on a task that involved AngularJS. And it was a pretty small one, but well, it opened up to me and I started to like it. So today I'm going to talk to you about developing single-page applications on Plone using AngularJS. I'm first going to start up with a simple demo not involving Plone, and then I'm going to go on to the gotchas of integrating it with Plone. So, what is a single-page application? A single-page application is a web app that loads a single HTML page, and it will dynamically update the page as the user interacts with it. So, in this diagram, let's consider the kittens as being views, separate views, and the big black square as being our browser. So, what we want is to go over all the views without reloading the main page. Well, okay, everyone loves kittens, I assume. I mean, Reddit is full of them. And when you want to look at them, you don't want to look at the white page and wait to load. Okay. When you want to make a single-page application, there are some challenges involved. One of them being DOM manipulation. If you've worked with Plone for a few years, I assume all of you did, I'm pretty sure you worked with jQuery, and if you wanted to do something more complex when interacting with UI, you've noticed that you can end up in a binding mess. And this is one of the challenges for single-page applications. Another challenge would be browser history. How do we keep track of all the views that we have on a page and we load it? Routing would be another one. We're using the hash fragment identifier for this. As the same module and view loading could pose a challenge. Data binding. This is a serious one. Caching and input validation. I guess these are some of the challenges that are posed by single-page applications. And okay, JavaScript is the only language that can solve these challenges. But you're not going to use simple JavaScript, and we're going to go and use one of the frameworks out there. There are many. There's EmberJS, XJS, React, Meteor, AngularJS. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm going to talk about AngularJS. Why I'm going to talk about AngularJS? Because it's the oldest one. And you know, right now is in JavaScript world is a mess. I don't know, if you commit something to a framework, probably the commit is already old by the time it gets accepted. Or okay, I'm missing something. I'm missing the word. Okay. AngularJS provides solutions for all the challenges that have been described before by default. There's no need to worry about any of that. It's a full framework, so you don't have to worry about templating. There's templating already available. AngularJS has been born in 2009. The first iteration was built in 5 days. Also, it was built to replace Google Web Toolkit. One of its features would be two-way data binding. This comes with a price that maybe we'll talk about later. Let's move on and show the first demo. Okay, I started with kittens, so I'm going to go on with kittens. As you can see, this is a simple app. It's using some Bootstrap CSS, nothing major, just a simple demo. We have the home. We're going to see later that the home is a different view loaded with which is using a different template from the main page. And we have the kittens. Now the kittens is just an unordered list of cute cats. As you can see, as I go over them, I'm gonna click one. You can look at the browser's address bar and see how the URL looks. This is gonna help us with browser history. Okay, there's nothing so complicated here, but this has been done, I don't know, in about half an hour. Now, if you go and start doing this in jQuery, things could become a little bit complicated. Now, I'm going to go back to our slides. Okay, full screen. So, how it looks like? Let's look at the file structure. So, we have the folder kittens, which contains an images folder where the cat's images are stored. We have a pages directory where the templates are stored for each view. An app.js, which is the app itself, and the main page, index.html. Now, I'm going to show you a snippet from the index.html. I'm not going to display everything, but only what's important. As you can see on the body, we have a directive. Well, everything that starts with ng dash is a directive, an Angular directive. This directive, ng app, is defining the root for the app itself. So the body of the main page is actually the root of the app. The next directive is ngView. Now ngView will allow us to render the templates of all the views which are controlled by the route service. Okay. Now the JavaScript snippet below is our app, and it's an Angular module. This is how we define the app. As you can see, it's called kittens, and it has as dependencies ng-route and kittens controllers. Kittens controllers is a customized module, as we will see soon. Now, the roots. Okay, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward, nothing very complicated. We have the root provider, which when going to the root, the slash, it's going to load up home.html template, and the controller for that template will be kittens controller. When we have /kittens, we're going to use a different template but the same controller, and then we're going to detail each kitten by using a different controller. If you write something else, it will take you directly to kittens because that's where the most important things are. Okay, factory. How do we put the kittens there? I've chosen to use a factory. Due to the fact that I'm using two controllers for this application, I need a way to have a single object that can be modified by each controller. So if, for example, I'm changing something in the kittens attribute in one controller, it can be seen in the other controller. The factory just returns an object. Inside that object, we have a function called getKittens, which in this case just returns the hard-coded kittens array. There's nothing stopping us from using an HTTP GET instead of just returning the hard-coded kittens. But this is, for now, outside the scope of this presentation. Okay. I've talked before about the kittens controllers, which is a module we made, which contains our controllers. As you can see, when declaring a controller, we have a scope and the kittens factory that we presented earlier. These are going to be injected into our controller, and the controller is going to have access to it. The scope is a special Angular object which binds the view, the templates, everything. Okay, the second controller, as you can see, is injecting root params. The root params is going to contain the ID for the kitten. That way we'll know which kitten is requested. As you can see, I'm assigning an attribute to the scope called kitten, and I'm filtering the kitten that's requested in the route, in the URL. This is the template for the kittens listing. As you can see, we have a directive called ngRepeat. You can look at this as being something similar to tile repeat. Basically the same thing, mostly. This is just going to repeat the HTML for all the kittens. We have the kittens in the scope. I don't know, I'm going to go back. In the first controller, I've added the attribute kittens as being get kittens from the kittens factory. This is how we can use an ngRepeat here. Notice that for the anchors and images, I'm not using href simply or source. They are prefixed with ng. This is not exactly required, but it's good practice. Okay, this is the details. Again, nothing that interesting. There's the pager at the end where you can see the href. It's being computed by adding or subtracting a 1. Okay, moving on. AngularJS and Plone. How can we integrate AngularJS in Plone? As far as I know, there are two ways. One of them is using a package called collective.js.angular. Including this into Plone is very easy. We can just add it to the eggs of our build-out. And the second alternative is using Bower and actually bundling Angular into our product. We're probably going to use a lot of third-party libraries as well, which are going to be bundled with Bower, so there's nothing stopping us from actually bundling AngularJS with it as well. The main drawback of collective.js.angular is that its release cycle is not quite on par with the release cycle of AngularJS. Bundling AngularJS into our product is very easy. We just go into the static directory of our product and just do a bower init, which is interactive init. We'll create a JSON, and then we can just install and save AngularJS. Okay, I'm gonna go to another demo. This one is gonna involve Plone. Okay, this is gonna be a tricky with my mouse. Okay, so as you can see, this is Plone 5. It's been released a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. So I've used this for my demo. I have created a package called oli.readme, not very inspired, but it's a way to create a simple readme using Angular, and it's quite easy. So, in order to create a readme, I have used a content type based on dexterity, and I'm just gonna add it. As you can see, it's here. It's asking for a title. Okay, I'm gonna save it. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna go back to that. Okay, this is the view. It's nothing fancy, and this could be worked a little bit more on it. The left side is going to contain our, okay, I see some CSS issues here. The left side is going to contain our headings. We can have an introduction. Okay, and just gonna add another one called, if I can find my mouse. Okay, so now we have two entries. While I do this, you can watch the browser's address bar to see how everything is handled. I can go to the introduction heading. Yeah, as you can see, there's no content yet. I can hit the edit button, and as you can see, now we have a new TinyMC. This TinyMC is actually using the pattern from Plone. So if you make customization to the TinyMC in Plone, they will be available here as well. So this is a rich edit. I don't know. I'm just gonna type something in. Also, I can change the heading. Bless you. Okay, and hit the finish, and you can see it here. The heading has been changed here also. We have the contents. I'm not going to add anything here. I'm just going to show you that you can delete it without an issue and create it again, for example, if you want. Okay, I'm going to show you something that I've created earlier. looking at the Plone Help Center and how its UI was, and this could at some point, if we decide to work on it some more, could provide an alternative to it. As you can see, it should be pretty. So that's about it for my demo. And I'm going to go back to the slides. So the package name is oli.readme. It's a Plone 5 product. It's a Plone 5 product because I've started with Plone 5 at that moment. I wanted to test how Plone 5 was. So I've ended up using dexterity and all that. And I stuck with it. AngularJS is bundled in the package itself, along with some other third parties, like the one for changing the title of the heading inline. All the JSON data is stored on the data field of the dexterity content type. Now this is the view template, the chameleon template for our app. This is the view. I'm going to show you how I've added Angular and my custom CSS into the view. As you can see, I'm filling the style slot and the JavaScript head slot with my Angular JavaScript libraries. Okay, in order for everything to work as expected, I had to add some hidden input with some valuable information that I needed in my app. One of them was the context URL, which in my case for developing was not quite working as expected. That's why I've used the object URL in order to have the context URL. We have the tinymc pattern, which is used in the editor. We have data content, which is the JSON data, where it's saved. Also, we have the authenticator, which is the CSFR code token. We're going to need that when we post data to Plone. And we have another authenticated flag in order to know when to display the edit controls and when not. As you can see, there's a div. Oops. There's a div, and on that div, the app is a README. That div is the root of the app. And also, we have the Directive ng view, which will render our templates. Okay, the factory is a little bit more complicated here, as there's also the function to do save in our factory. This function can be called in all our controllers. As you can see, we're using the HTTP service. This is coming from Angular. In order to post data, there's one catch here. By default, we cannot post with the default settings of Angular. We cannot post to Zope. That is because we need to change the content type. This is the only way that we can post. Another thing here is that we're using the authenticator in order to satisfy the security requirements. And the The factory also contains the values from the hidden inputs in our view. Okay, this is the template for the heading listing, the one on the left. We are using the ng-repeat directive here in order to loop over the headings in the JSON data. The JSON data is attached to the scope. The data is coming from the factory and from the hidden input. But it's attached to the scope and it's going to remain there. And it's going to be updated there. Okay, we have an ng class directive, which just sets the active class for the list item. If the current heading is that we have our mouse on is the cur head ID, which I'm going to show you later what it is. Okay. We have another directive in the span element called ng-if. This is a simple if. If authenticated is true, then the span will be displayed. Also, we have another directive, ng-click, which will be a handler for our click on the span element. That span is actually the X button to delete it. As you can see, it's calling a function, remove heading. That function is going to be declared on the inside the controller. Okay, how does adding that that title work? We have a button which has sort of two states. When first click, you can see the directive ng-click. We have add heading function, which should add the heading title. I didn't mention the heading title, but yeah, this is better to talk about a little bit later in order to be understood. Okay. As you can see, there are two form groups here. The first one contains the button, and the second one contains an input of type text. Okay, as you can see, this is where two-way data binding comes in. We are declaring an ng model as being the heading title. This is actually what we write in this input is going to be stored in the heading title. And on the button here, we have the function add heading, which is called with the parameter heading title coming from here. Okay, hopefully this is clear. Moving on. This is the function in the scope for adding the heading. As you can see, there is an attribute called add heading, which first when clicking on the add is being set up as true, and when clicking the second time being true, it's just going to add our title in the array. As you can see, it's checking if it's not already there, and it's using a random ID. Okay. How I've added the TinyMCE into that view. In order to do this, I've actually decided to use a custom directive called a TinyMCE. This is how its template looks. It's, as you can see, it's a whole new element. If you want, you could use a div with a TinyMCE attribute. Nothing stopping you from using that. And also, I am attaching ng model heading to that element. You're going to see why. Okay, this is the code. I'm not sure you can see it. This is the code for the custom directive. As you can see, this function is returning an object. The first attribute called restricted is set to E. This means that this directive is going to be attached just to the element. I've told you a few minutes ago that you could use a div with a tinymc attribute. In order to do that, you would have to change the restrict to A, or just use AE, and then you could use both. It requires the ng model, and the template that's going to be rendered by this directive is just a simple text area. Now, there's also a link, which is a function where all the magic happens. I'm getting the text area from the template mentioned above, and as you can see, the tiny pattern is coming from readme data, which is our factory. And I'm just initializing tinymc. Okay, the ng model has a render function. This is used in case the object itself is changed in another part of the application, and this will take care of updating in our editor as well. And there's a simple event handler on input, which will just update our value according to what we write there. Okay, AngularJS in the future. I don't know if you know, but there has been a lot of talk about AngularJS 2.0, which is going to break a lot of things. It's going to be basically a complete rewrite of AngularJS, and this has caused a lot of trouble into the community. Mainly because the initial announcement said that it's going to break backwards compatibility and there's not going to be an upgrade path. However, in August, there's been a blog post on Google somewhere saying the fact that there is going to be an upgrade path. And also another bit of information which is very important, Angular 1.x and Angular 2.x will be able to coexist in the same application. This is major because if you start now and use and make an application using Angular 1.x, you will know that you could further extend it later with 2.x features with no problem. Also, there's going to be an upgrade path if you decide to go all the way in with Angular 2. Okay, where to go next? We have the official documentation site. There's also code schools shaping up of AngularJS. It's a collection of video training courses, which is very good. And we have the Angular's GitHub page. And that's about it. And if you have questions, I'm going to try to answer them. Anyone?
I have a question. Do you think that there is an alternative to AngularJS, another technology that they are with the same purpose? Or?
Yes, there are many alternatives. There's Ember. there's React, even though it's not a full framework, but there are alternatives. And okay, one of the major problems of AngularJS 1 at the moment is its speed. And this problem comes from the process called dirty checking, related to two-way data binding. React is not using two-way data binding. And for certain applications, React is more suited. But overall, Angular will allow you to develop your app without an issue. And okay, if you have issues then with speed, then you can go on and move to something else. Anything else? Okay, I guess not. Thank you very much.